I must be missing something. If having a debt ceiling didn't do anything for me, and it hasn't worked for the United States, what is its purpose?
It served a purpose a long time ago to actually try to make things easier, not harder, for Treasury to pay the obligations on time without jumping through hoops. It now serves no purpose. It should be abolished.
But Congress swears by this debt ceiling. In fact, it has gone through this exercise of changing or suspending the debt ceiling 78 times since 1960. Dr. Edelberg, given 78 times of this debt ceiling that we think is going to somehow curb our budget decisions, has the United States lowered its debt? This didn't work for me in this hypothetical. Has it worked for the U.S.?
There's no evidence that the debt ceiling has led to lower federal borrowing, no.
Whether you're the United States government or a single mom like me, we all have things that we need to buy. Just like my kids need food and clothes, our country can't live without public safety, roads and bridges, and services like veteran health care and senior food assistance. There's another thing that I have in common with our government. I buy on credit, and I've never defaulted on my debt. Dr. Edelberg, given my credit history and that I've never defaulted, how might a credit card company assess my creditworthiness?
You sound like a good risk.
So let's say my credit card company has given me a card that allows me to buy everything I could ever possibly want. But because I'm fiscally responsible, I'm going to create a debt ceiling for myself. It's modeled on Congress. I am getting my debt, I'm going to set my personal debt ceiling at $1,000. I don't want more than $1,000 of debt. I want to be fiscally responsible, no matter how much my credit card company is willing to loan me because of my stellar credit card history. So I go to the store, and I have a lot I need to buy for my family. I fill my cart to the top. I get to the front of the store, and I ring up $500. I look at the bill. I reach for my card. I worry because I know I've already spent probably $1,000 in the last few weeks because of an ER visit, braces for my daughter. Dr. Edelberg, will my credit card company respect my personal $1,000 debt ceiling, or will this transaction go through?
The transaction will go through.
I hate to disrespect my debt ceiling, but my kids have to eat, they need their school supplies, their feet keep growing. So I swipe the credit card, the charge goes through. Now fast forward. My credit card bill arrives. It's more than my $1,000 debt ceiling. I call up my credit card company and I tell them, I've exceeded my debt ceiling. I'm not going to pay back the $500 above my debt ceiling, even though I've already spent it, even though my kids have already eaten the food, worn the clothes. Dr. Edelberg, will my credit card company accept this, my personal debt ceiling, as an excuse for why I'm not paying my bills?
They will consider you in default.
So my lender expects to be repaid, no matter what I set as my debt ceiling. If I decide to stick with my debt ceiling and I do default, you said they'll consider me in default, what's going to happen to me?
They'll lower your credit limit, they'll raise your interest rate, they might even cancel the card.
So I really have no choice here as a consumer, as a mom, to suspend my $1,000 debt ceiling and pay off the debt that I've taken. Buy the ticket, take the ride. I did the spending, I've got to pay it back. Dr. Edelberg, I'm confused because I thought that if I created a debt ceiling, that would make me fiscally responsible. Did it change my spending in this hypothetical?
It might have slowed you down, but at the end of the day, you blew through your debt ceiling.
Did it make me have less debt somehow to announce that I had a debt ceiling to the credit card company? Did that help me get my debt forgiven, or?
It did not help you get your debt forgiven.
Did it make me fiscally responsible? Did it help lenders think at least that I'm a good credit risk?
Only if they thought it was credible that you were going to keep your spending under the debt limit, which apparently wouldn't have been a good assumption.
If having a debt ceiling didn't do anything for me, and it hasn't worked for the United States, what is its purpose?
It served a purpose a long time ago to actually try to make things easier, not harder, for Treasury to pay the obligations on time without jumping through hoops. It now serves no purpose. It should be abolished.
So you're saying that now that we actually have computers and can keep track of what we owe and when we're going to owe it and make model to anticipate revenue and when it's coming and how we're going to meet our bills, this is just doing as little good as my personal hypothetical $1,000 debt ceiling?
We now have extraordinary transparency over how much Treasury is borrowing, what securities they're issuing, what their timetable is for issuing those. The debt limit does not serve a useful purpose.
Thank you. I yield back.